and who you are, your name, title of firm, and your tenure.
Mark Aronchick. I'm the chairman of Hangley, Aronchick, Siegel, Pudlin, and Schiller. My tenure?
Yeah, let's do it again. And
what do you
not
mean
your
by tenure?
tenure, so you came to this where you started from, whatever,
Oh, you want some background on the firm or
little
something?
teeny bit,
Teeny bit, okay.
just as by way of introduction, and then we'll go right into
right.
the case.
Okay, I'm Mark Aronchick. I'm chairman of Hangley, Aronchick, Siegel, Pudlin, and Schiller. Actually, I'm one of the founding shareholders. We started the firm in 1994, and we've been going great guns ever since.
Okay, so the White case, how?
The Whitewood?
The Whitewood.
White House?
Yeah, right, exactly. Can you tell me what it meant to you working on it, getting a case like this? How did it affect you?
I've been in public life for many, many years. I've been a lead lawyer in many large cases, big, big issues. And I can't think of one that is more important to me, more important to people generally than the Whitewood case.
And why is that?
Okay. The Whitewood case is really all about, in the end, love, respect, and integrity. And if you're a lawyer and you get to fight for love, respect, and integrity, there's nothing better. As a case in the annals of civil rights jurisprudence, it's one of the most important. This is the civil rights issue of our day, same-sex marriage, and the meta issue around it, which is full equality for LGBT citizens. And its impact on people generally is huge. It's such, profound consequences, because we're talking about not only the specific impact on couples who want to get married, but their children, and then really the communities that they all live in, and then really American citizens generally.
Yeah, it definitely had a national presence. I mean, it gave more. But what about for you as a lawyer? Did it change you at all? Did it shape you a little bit differently? Did it change your perspective a little bit? You did something huge. So
Yeah. Well, I would say, let me start with the Whitewood case from a personal point of view. I have fought in the area of civil rights and really for no discrimination against LGBT citizens for decades. When I was the city solicitor for Philadelphia, I was instrumental in having a provision of the human relations law barring discrimination on sexual orientation. When I was the chancellor of the Philadelphia Bar Association, I fought that issue in many contexts, particularly around the terrible tragedy and killing of Matthew Shepard. So this is an issue that I've been long in the forefront. And then a few years ago, I was one of the lead people to start a movement in Pennsylvania to bar discrimination, have anti-discrimination ordinances at a local level, because our state wasn't getting there. And Lower Merion Township was a leader in that, and I helped draft all of the procedures, and I chaired the Human Relations Commission the first year of its existence in Lower Merion. So along comes the Whitewood case, where it took less than a nanosecond for me to say, I've got to do this case as a matter of just professional continuity, but really as a matter of what lawyers are all about. Let me just say a couple things about me. I'm a late 60s kid. I went to college in the late 60s. It was a period of great social change, and I was very much involved in that on the campus at the University of Pennsylvania. So I went to law school to make a difference. I went to law school so that I could be part of achieving a just society, so that we can make America even a better country and fulfill its promise. That's why I went to law school. And I've spent a lot of time since then as a lawyer trying to achieve that and remembering always why I went to law school. So for over 40 years after being a lawyer, along comes a case like this, which is in the annals of civil rights jurisprudence in the United States is going to be one of the major chapters. And I get to be the lead lawyer in one of the most important states in the country. And we are the first case to be filed after the Windsor decision last July, which then set a template in many respects for the complaints that were filed in many other states. I mean, what more could you want if you're Mark Aronchick, the late 60s kid who went to law school, to make a difference? So this was perfect. This was really a great opportunity. But the case itself, like all great civil rights chapters in the United States, the fight for women equality, the fight for African American around Brown versus Board and ever since, all of the major civil rights battles we've had there's a certain kind of compulsion about these battles, a certain kind of mission that exists around these battles, because it profoundly, centrally is about what our country is all about. And there will be a long time before there's another chapter. There will be something else we have to get right in the United States, but a long time before there's a chapter this monumental. So to be in the lead, not just in Pennsylvania, where I was in the lead, am in the lead, but in the country, to be in the lead of a whole movement achieving a more perfect union for LGBT citizens, elevates what I do to profound levels. I am a religious person by nature, and in many respects, handling this case was that kind of awesome, almost religious type experience. To know that we're fighting for what is the most important aspects of a person's life, who they love and how they want to live that life, and how they want to raise their family, and how they want to be fully accepted in a community, and as I said, for love and respect and integrity. I mean, that is a mission second to none. And to know that we were making a difference, not just in Pennsylvania, for millions of people here. I mean, for citizens who are not LGBT, this makes a difference. And then to know that we were really an example in the country is just a very satisfying, deeply personal, and very important feeling. And the way we did this case was an example for people around the country. We set up this case, and I don't think there could have been a better way to present this case than the way we designed it and the way we put it together. And I think that is so on several grounds, if I could take a moment and explain. First of all, just structuring a legal case. We put a case together where we had spectacular plaintiffs. We found people who were willing to fight this fight. And when I mean spectacular, I mean people who are no different than Pennsylvanians generally. They represent a total cross-section of Pennsylvania. They're every religion and some no religion. There are older people and younger. There are women, there are men. There are people who have children. There are people who want to have children. There are people who don't have children. There are people who live in all corners of the state. There are people with the whole cross-section of professions. There are lawyers. There's business executives. There's just basic housewives, and there are PTA leaders and church leaders and young couples that are just making their way, and elderly couples that are examples in their community. And they're just great people. And that's because they are no different than people generally. I think people are always special. So we had this great group of people fighting this fight. Really, if you get by the first 15 or 20 pages of our complaint, you don't have to go any farther. The case is over and won when you see who these people are. And that is number one. Number one, you can't discriminate against these people when you know who they are and what they want. It is impossible to sit down and say, you know, I hear all that, I still want to discriminate against them. I want to deny them something I have. I want to deny them respect. I want to deny their integrity. I want to do that. You can't. I mean, it's just not what we are as Americans. So that's first. Second, we did this case in the most highly professional manner possible. Our firm does that in our litigation. We are famous for that. And we put everything into this case that we would in any other case. So we worked it over very carefully and strategically. We assembled the greatest experts we could find on all the issues we thought might be raised. We answered every question that the opposition has ever raised in any case about challenging why there should be same-sex marriages, about whether it's good or bad generally. We answered every one of those oppositional questions, but we answered them with facts, and we answered them with experts, we answered them with a professional sense. There's just not a lot of rhetoric. We really took on the issues that were raised. And so we made this an educational vehicle because we knew we would get a lot of press coverage and we knew people were combing over everything we were doing. So we wanted this to be educational. We talked about this case wherever we had a chance, in public forums, in rallies, in the media, through our briefs and through our letters and everything we did in this case, so that it would be a laboratory, an educational lesson, because we knew, and everyone really knows now, that if you take a moment and just take the veil off, this issue and stop talking about it in categories, same sex and heterosex, and just look and say, we're talking about people who have aspirations like you do, who have needs like you do, who have love in their hearts like you do. Just listen to them. Just hear what they're all about, that you're going to move mountains, and we did. And so education was huge, really important. And the other thing that was really important in this case was to keep exceedingly good relationships with our opposition, with the governor's lawyers, with the various other people who were opposing us in this case, to keep the channels of communication open, to show respect to our adversaries, to have a respectful presentation in court. That led to a elimination, in this case, of rancor, of tension, of bad feelings, of things that could cloud and get to a victory. And I think it then also led in many ways, to an understanding as the case was finished, that from the governor's point of view, his battle was a loser. There's no reason to battle this battle. And in fact, he should step aside, not appeal, and kind of join the forces of inevitability here, that, we're talking about something that there's a march to justice and equality, and I credit our governor for recognizing that and for altering his own views and for listening to his lawyers. And I particularly credit his lawyers for looking at this in a real professional way and realizing this was not a battle to continue. And so we were able to achieve that because we handled this at the highest level of professionalism across the board. And when I say we, yes, our firm had a lot to do with this case, huge commitment to this case, but our co-counsel from the ACLU were some of the greatest lawyers I've ever worked with, and handled this in the most professional manner I have ever seen. And I learned a lot from them. So to kind of summarize and bring to a point here, your question, what did this mean? It meant to me that everything that I have ever prayed and hoped for about our justice system is true. everything I ever committed myself from the day when I was a sixth grader and won the Kiwanis Award for my essay, What Does America Mean to Me, is actually true. America is everything we want it to be and can be, and it's true. It meant to me that our court system really has the ability to not only get it right, but profoundly affect people in big ways, and to do it in an elegant manner, as Judge Jones did in this case. And it also meant that for people generally who are feeling left out, who are feeling disrespected, who are feeling second class, that there's a place for them to fight. There is a way to achieve all of the dignity that they want to achieve, that we're not the kind of society that is going to marginalize people forever, that we're not a caste system, we're not a two-tier citizenship. We're not that kind of place. And this case not only says that to LGBT citizens, but it really and truly, as all great civil rights battles, it says it to our citizens generally, to everyone and anybody who is feeling that maybe there's not a place, they're not fully part of the American dream and the American system. All they got to do is look and see what happened here and then say, you know, if it worked for them, it can work for me. And and so in a profound, and I mean in the most profound sense, this case reaffirmed values, it reaffirmed beliefs that I've had my whole life. And I think in many respects, it's helped me pay it forward. It's really helped me pay it forward. I'm going to be getting off the stage not too long from now, I suspect. But it's made me, or it's allowed me to say to the next generations, here's my gift, here's my effort, here's what I want for you. And so sort of carry it on, take it forward.
So that brings me to my next question, which would be, how do you think, with the ongoing cases, these cases that are going on right now, they're underway, how do you think this one helps? And how do you think it's going to affect change in other laws? Talking about like moving it forward.
Well, we've seen something I think that's been remarkable since the Windsor decision a year ago. It's 1 year. So far, 16 different federal judges, unanimously, district court judges, writing opinions that I think in many respects are their legacy opinions. I mean, profound words and deep thoughts and lengthy opinions. It's almost been a judicial writing contest of who's going to write the most profound words. And it's been a marvel to see. It's case winding its way through the appellate courts, and I think we'll see more of the same. And ultimately, I believe that when and if the Supreme Court addresses this, it will end this discussion once and for all in a good way, and we'll have this next chapter, and the chapter will be a good ending to it, and we'll move on. What it does, though, also is affects public thinking about discrimination against LGBT citizens generally. Not just on marriage, but it makes people think twice. Do I really have, why do I have this prejudice in public employment, or in private employment, or in housing, or in anything I do, in the way I raise my children? I saw so many examples of a shift in thinking. Look, the younger generations, the 20-somethings and the 30-somethings, they're amazing on these issues. you talk to them and they don't even understand why the baby boomers are still fighting with each other over this fight. It's like, ho-hum, like, of course we're not going to discriminate. Of course they're full citizens. I mean, it's so profound and it's so there. I spoke at the Temple Business School, and there were a couple hundred people there, and I felt like, you know that they couldn't quite understand why this was such an important issue, because it doesn't, it's so matter of fact in their lives, and that's great. But there are other generations above the younger ones that are, whose attitudes are hardened in some respects and are learning and are coming to grips with these issues. And fighting this fight enables people's attitudes to shift and change. When you see people expressing their love, I mean, we're talking about marriage. We're talking about one of the most conservative institutions that exists. We're talking about such a central institution in American life. And when you see people expressing their love and then working in the community for community good and raising great children, and you say, boy, not only am I not going to discriminate against these people, they're role models. I mean, like, I'd like to know, I want my kids to know they're kids. I want to know how they live and what they're doing and what their feelings are. And all of a sudden, all these attitudes just evaporate. They just go away, and people get together on the things that really matter to them. Raising children and making a just society and making what they need in order to get along, and all this other stuff just goes. And these cases in this past year have enabled that to happen. There's a sea change in American attitude, just a sea change. And I think people wiser than I am on sociology and political science will tell you left and right, we have never seen such a profound shift in thinking as we've seen in the last year. And that's only going to continue. And it will continue in all walks of life. And people will not be threatened. And they'll understand that when we're talking about marriage and justice and equality, there's everything to celebrate and nothing to fear. I thank God every day for Mary Catherine Roper from the ACLU calling me up 2 winters ago and saying, hey Mark, how would you all like to join with us and challenge the ban on same-sex marriage in Pennsylvania? Because when she called, as I said, it took me less than a nanosecond to say yes. But the opportunity then to be the vehicle to so profoundly shape public opinion and to see it happen in real time before my eyes so quickly, and then for me to be able to experience the results of that in real time. I mean, because the governor didn't appeal, I went over to the first marriages in City Hall, and there was nobody crying as much as I was crying, and had so much joy, and had people coming up to me, I didn't even know who they were. I mean, saying, aren't you Mark Aronchick? You're the one who helped make this happen. And I said, well, thanks, but you all did too. I mean, you've been fighting this fight in your own ways. And no, I want to tell you, you've helped me be normal. You've helped me feel normal. I mean, I'm just tearing up thinking about that, about people coming up saying, you helped me feel normal. I mean, what did we become that made them not feel normal? And thank God we've been able to achieve a sense of dignity and integrity in their lives so quickly. And God forbid it's taken away somewhere. I mean, I hope it never is, but to see the children jumping around. I had an experience that was remarkable when Kathleen Kane, the Attorney General, said she wasn't going to oppose this case. We were at a press conference. I applauded her for doing that. It was a very important part of this case when she did that. And I was wanted to have a front row seat. So I was sitting next to a mother who brought her son, who was a teenager, who's gay, and who wanted to be there and her son to see this at the Constitution Center. And I know the Attorney General, so I said to him, and to her, when she's done speaking, why don't I go up and introduce you so that maybe you can get a picture with her, because this is a big moment. So the mother stopped, and then she tapped me on the shoulder, and she goes, Mark, he wants a picture with you. He really wants a picture with you. And I said, oh man, like, if little Mark Aronchik from Bradley Beach, New Jersey is now in the place of really affecting people's lives in that way, thank God that I have the chance to do that.
That's amazing. So, you're no stranger to pro bono, and you've approached this case not just because it was a pro bono case, but the way you do all clients. Can you talk a little bit about that type of work?
Sure.
If there's any difference at all, which I can imagine that there would be, that you handle these cases with extreme vigor.
Well, our law firm is known for being go-to litigators. We're the people that are asked to try cases, to handle the big problems, business problems, defending big class actions, healthcare disputes, antitrust disputes, big commercial disputes, major regulatory problems, administrative problems. I mean, that's what we thrive on. That's what we do. We're known nationally for an extraordinary group of litigators. I'm in the American College of Trial Lawyers. Bill Hangley's in the American College of Trial Lawyers. We have people who are leaders in the profession across the board. We don't just litigate. We do lots of other things very well, but that is something we're particularly known for. How much we will take on the big battle and fight the big fight. Now, why are we good at that? Because we have extraordinary lawyers. First and foremost, we're very careful about who we hire. They're people that could go to any firm, anywhere. They come to us. They're highly credentialed. They have an extra dimension of risk-taking, of kind of a big picture look at problems, so that they bring a lot to bear in trying to figure out right solutions for people, strategies. We're really good at that. We're very collaborative in the law firm, and that's a big strength. Up and down, from senior down to brand new lawyers, fully collaborative. And so we throw our very best at every case that comes in, and our very best is the best. There isn't anybody that does it better. You come to us, you're going to get, what's bigger than a Cadillac, whatever it is, you're going to get that. You're going to get that kind of treatment. Whatever is more impressive and the highest standard, that's what you're going to get. We also have a profound commitment to the community, a history built into our culture of pro bono and community service. We have people who leave us to go to major government jobs, community service, teach, go to the bench. We have people who come to us from those places. And there is a long tradition and a big commitment. And we will take on the major pro bono challenges, not just important small ones, but very important major ones. And when we do, there is no distinction in the teams we put together. The team in this case, Mark Aronchik, John Stapleton, Rebecca Melly, Dylan Steinberg, Helen Cassell, is a team that you would wish for in the most complicated business case or commercial case or any case. I mean, you would, if you were a client walking in here and you said, can I have that team, you would consider yourself immensely happy and proud and satisfied that you had that group of lawyers. And that is so regardless. We could put together any team of people here and and handle that case as we would handle any other. So that is where we started here. We put everything into it. And we did it the way we would do any other case. We did it at the same time that we were handling a major pro bono case on the Kids for Cash scandal from Luzerne County with the judges who were, putting kids in the juvenile prison. We had the big role in that case. And another and that was a different group of lawyers, and then another group of lawyers handling the effort by judges to avoid mandatory retirement at age 70. Another big issue in Pennsylvania because, 70 is the new 60, or however you're supposed to say that. 60 is the new 70, 70 is the 60, whatever it is. 70 is not an obvious reason why judges should leave the bench. And so we took that case on. While we're also doing major cases for major clients and not missing a beat. I credit my entire set of colleagues in this firm for supporting everything we do here, whether it's a big business case, commercial case, institutional case. We have huge practice in insurance defense issues of the most complex nature in this country. Great lawyers that handle that. And we support each other in whatever it is we're doing. And to us, our most satisfied moment is when the client, whether it is a pro bono client, a business client, whoever it is, tells us afterwards, you folks made all the difference in the world to me. That issue that you took on was so profoundly important to me, to my business, to my life. I can't tell you, I'll never forget you. That is what we live for. That's what we live for.
That's good. There's only one in the beginning of you started talking about the trial, the way you approach the case. Is there anything other that you'd like to say in terms of the way the team took on the case, the way you attacked it, the way you presented it? Was it any different? Do other cases, or was it all part of the same professionalism that you normally?
I really don't think there was anything different than we would handle any case that's in the office. We were fully collaborative. The entire team worked together and met together on a regular basis on every major issue. We strategized where are we going and why and how are we going to get there on a regular basis. We presented our clients in the very best light that they deserve, and we do that with every client. We engaged the best experts we could find and work with them very closely. We do that with any client. We wrote briefs and motions that are masterpieces. I mean, absolutely masterpieces, because we've been told that by lawyers around the country who were like reading them eagerly for their own cases. So many emails I got. Boy, was that complaint great. Oh man, that motion knocked it out of the park. Your brief was unbelievable. Who wrote that? And I didn't write most of those briefs. I mean, I looked them over, but go thank John Stapleton and Dylan Steinberg and Rebecca Melly and the ACLU folks. I mean, they worked night and day to get these things. Helen Casal, to get everything right. We understood this case inside and out. We understood how to deal with every objection that was being made. You know, the objections like, this is bad for children, this is bad for heterosexual procreation, this is bad for the public, well-being, this is bad for the state treasury. I mean, there's so many junky objections that were thrown at this, and we answered every one of them fully and completely. Didn't just brush them off. We took them on and dealt with them.
Yeah, you went through, I think that you've answered.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
because you went through and you talked
yeah,
about the love
yeah.
and the integrity. You talked about the taking the best clients and
all of that,
profound
and
stories,
we just never, we really,
I'm just worried about your time. You
yeah,
have to be
that's
out of
okay.
here.
We just, I think the bottom line on this case here is that this case is an example of how we do everything, but it also was an example, I think, to the legal community generally about how cases ought to be handled.
I think so.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you. You're awesome.
Did you get enough from me?
Yeah.
Good.